Welcome back to Bravo Breaking News with Kim and Lisa. Today, we are going to be talking about Vanderpump Rules, and I feel like maybe we witnessed history last night because did Tom Sandoval actually take a little bit of accountability for his actions? I mean, maybe sort of, kind of. He still seems to be making some excuses in the process, but I think we're getting baby steps. The crocodile tears are continuing. We saw them once again, but it kind of seems like the gang is beginning to turn around. But do you think he deserves to be forgiven? I cannot wait to hear what you think about this because I know I have thoughts. We're going to break it all down, but before we dive in, make sure you guys are subscribed so you don't miss any Bravo breaking news. So we kind of pick back up where we left off last week. James surprises Allie with Graham, and she seems honestly shocked. One thing that shocked me, though, was that Allie is definitely a cat person. She is definitely putting her cat's, feelings ahead of graham crackers, which that's fine, but I'm not a cat person, so sorry, Allie. But it's just funny how she kind of still sees Graham as Raquel's dog, and it's almost kind of weird for her to bring, James's ex's dog into their lives, and I kind of have to agree with her. I guess I never really thought about it like that because it is James's dog, but I think it was Raquel's, Graham was gifted to Raquel. So for them to adopt James' ex's dog is a little weird. It's definitely weird, and I would have the same concern that Allie had, which is, look, when this is all said and done and Raquel is, kind of back to normal, she's going to want that dog back. And so I wouldn't want to get too attached to it if I have that in the back of my head thinking, when is she going to come knocking and say, hey, I want my dog back? And it's going to be really awkward and hard to say no because he was her dog. So I don't know. It's a little tricky, but yeah, Allie's definitely very protective of her cats and says if Graham misbehaves, he's out of here. But I hope, I think we know it turns out well because he does seem really happy with James. I agree. I agree. All right. We get the Toms shopping. And can I just say, Schwartzy, you need a stylist. Hire me. I will be your stylist because the pants that you picked out, you said you're in your Adam Sandler era, but you can do so much better. I just want better for you with your fashion. And when he picked out those pants, I was like, okay, he's not actually going to buy them. Oh, he bought them and he definitely wore them in Tahoe. Sandoval's looking at hatchets, a little concerning. He mentions that, he has not heard from Raquel, but he knows that she's out of the mental health facility and is now going by Rachel. And he doesn't seem surprised by any of that. But he did reveal that she's not answering his calls or his texts. And so at this point, it seems like she has definitely made it clear that she does not want to speak to him. And I'm sure that's got to be a hard pill for him to swallow. Yeah, it doesn't really seem like he's set to give up yet. But dude, let it go. She's ghosted you. It's been a few weeks now. Get the memo because I don't think she's coming back, dude. And he keeps, in confessionals, he still loves her. We know. He still wants to try to make it work. We know. But sorry, dude, it's not going to work. And like I said last week, karma is a bitch. But we got another interesting scene shopping for the Tahoe trip. And that was with Sheena and Brock. Now, I need to get your thoughts on this scene because it was very, very cringe. First of all, I'm sorry. This is Vanderpump Rules. It's not the Valley. Is Sheena's whole storyline going to be finding a babysitter for Summer Moon? Because sorry, not here for it. Not here for it. I don't know if it's because I don't have kids and can't relate, but I don't know. Her and Brock get into this massive argument in the middle of the store while shopping for bathing suits about who's going to watch Summer Moon and all of this crap. I feel like he is wanting to hire a nanny off nannylane.com and say, here you go, thanks, and we'll see you later. And Sheena is doing what any other mother would do and saying, I don't want to trust my kid with just anyone, we have my mom here who is a person that we trust. Why wouldn't I leave her with my mother? And it's very confusing to me because it is such a gift to have family members around who you can trust, who are willing to help out with your kids. And Brock is just rejecting this, and it makes me think like he must really dislike Sheena's mom. We saw a little bit of it. I can't remember if it was last season or the season before when they first had Summer, and I think they were kind of arguing about how much they're paying her mom. But it's like so many parents would give anything to have, a family member watch their kids, because childcare is really hard to come by, good childcare. And he is just so up in arms about them always leaving Summer with her mom. And it's just, something is not adding up here. And I think this fight, when Sheena was saying, I don't want to do this in the store, they know they're on camera, right? I think the bigger concern was, I don't want this on camera, because now we have Brock saying multiple times how he doesn't want Sheena's mom around all the time. And that's not a good look for him. If that was my husband saying that about my mother, over and over again, like I would feel like I would need to make excuses for him. I would feel like that would kind of come between the family dynamics. And I just think there's more to it than the actual nanny.
Yeah, maybe, but sorry, I'm still not interested. I don't give a shit about this storyline, to be perfectly honest. I love your hot takes, but sorry, Sheena and Brock. Maybe move over to the valley.
Thank you. Next. All right, so let's skip on over to Tahoe. Graham got to ride in the private jet. Unclear why no one else got to, but okay. And we see Lisa doing her Wolf by Vanderpump photo shoot. I do think that first animal was an actual wolf, right? Like it looked very large and very scary to me. But then there were a couple of scenes where it was just huskies, which are not wolves.
I don't know. I mean, this is all following this like random ass post from Lisa Vanderpump. I don't know if you saw it. She like posts this like AI generated like wolf looking man like wearing clothes on Instagram. It was very strange, very weird. Was that like prepping us for this wolf shoot? I don't know, but it's giving cringe. I'm not here for it. Like, it's just not, she is a classy person. Let's be real. Her establishments could be a little bit more classy, but they're high end and stuff. This shoot is kind of like, I don't know. It's not quite the branding that you really want your restaurant to have. But I don't know. We also see Sandoval and Schwartz like on their way to Tahoe. And I think Lisa FaceTimes them during this shoot. And she's kind of asking like how things are going. And I guess, Sandoval is so happy because Sheena was basically like, you can sit with us. She invited him to sit with them at the airport or on the plane. And he just like starts like breaking down, like crying, like, I'm finally being accepted back into the group because Sheena let me sit with him. And it's like, well, I don't know how many times we are going to have to see Sandoval's crocodile tears. I mean, there's several times in this episode. This is just the first. And it's just, I don't know. It's coming off as so inauthentic. What did you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was unexpected for him. I think he was probably really nervous going in thinking, all right, do I have to pretend like I don't know them? Like, should I say hi? Should I not say hi? And so for Sheena to sort of break the ice there, I think was, important to him. But yeah, I don't know. It doesn't seem like he really cares enough about these relationships for him to be so worked up over the loss of that friendship. Like, I understand more of him just feeling in a dark place because he was getting so much hate from the entire world. But I just don't know that like him not talking to Sheena and Lala is really getting him down. Like, I'm not sure I'm believing that. So they get to the house, Schwartz is optimistic. There seems to be like an air of peace and everyone is just coexisting. Everyone's being cordial to each other. Brock throws on a really, really beautiful caftan over his Speedo. And again, I just need to question the fashion choices of the men on this show because I don't know who's advising them, but someone needs to. We get the first like Sandoval conversation with him and Brock. And Brock kind of starts to come in hot a little bit. And Sandoval's like, I don't want to talk about it. And, then he finally says, okay, well, listen, what Rachel and I did not have malicious intent. but I feel like what the group did to us, there was some malicious intent behind. And so he's clearly still holding on to that and thinking that he's a victim in this and that he deserves an apology. And it's like, dude, that's not going to happen. And he says, they want me to be groveling on my knees. Like, yeah, you kind of need to like earn your way back into this group if that's what you want. And I would not expect them to apologize. I mean, should they for, being so hard on you? Like maybe at some point, but I don't think enough time has passed.
Yeah, I know, but it's almost like he's expecting an apology from them first. He needs to sit down the entire group and say, look, guys, what I did was extremely fucked up. I'm sorry. I blew up everybody's lives. I ruined everybody's friendships. But he doesn't even really seem to think it that way. Every time he apologizes, even when it's with James at the end of the episode, which we'll get to, it's always like, I'm sorry, but there's always an excuse after it. He's expecting like more from them than he thinks they should expect of him. And dude, that is the wrong way to look at it. It is like, so like this moment where they're sitting on the dock in Tahoe is the perfect moment for him to like say, I'm sorry. Instead, he's like talking about, we're going to have a meditation healer tomorrow. Da, 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 da. Nobody gives a shit about the meditation healer. Just say, I'm sorry to everybody and explain how your actions affected the entire group. I don't understand why he's not doing that. He seems to be going like the one by one route. I'm not sure that's the best way to go.
It seems like he would do much better with saying, I'm sorry, and here's what I'm going to do going forward to, earn your guys' trust back, earn your friendship back. I get that we're not going to get there in one weekend, but like, thank you for giving me this opportunity. And he just can't humble himself enough to do that.
He certainly can't. But we also got this weird moment where Lisa just like pops in to the Tahoe house with Graham and then dips out like immediately. I feel like she doesn't even say 2 words, but she drops Graham off. Everybody is kind of in shock. I mean, Allie and James, they definitely, expect him to come, but everybody else is like, is that Graham? And it kind of throws everybody off guard, especially Sandoval, because he's like, whoa, what? Like, I don't think he saw this coming. I saw some tweets that are like, Sandoval was like, oh, worried that Graham was going to like run up to him and like think he was his daddy, which I thought was kind of funny. But I don't know. He kind of shares that, what they're telling him about Graham, what they're telling James and Allie about Graham is not the case, that he attacked multiple people, that basically he shouldn't be here. I don't know. I don't know what the real story is with Graham. He seems on camera like a perfectly normal dog. I don't see any aggression yet, so we'll see. But I loved the moment with Allie where, they're talking about the Raquel name change. And she's like, well, if Rachel can change her name, why can't we change Graham's name to Hippie? And I thought that was just like so authentic shade. It's like she didn't mean for it to come off like mean or dramatic, but it totally was like the perfect comeback. And I just loved it.
Yeah, everyone deserves a rebrand moment. Even Graham Cracker. All right, so we take a visit to the Wolf venue, which is in shambles. Like, it is definitely, down to the studs. And Lisa's swinging her sledgehammer in her cute little jumpsuit and pink hard hat and invites everyone else to, take a swing, get your aggression out. And this was an interesting moment because I feel like Sandoval is just making such weird choices, right? He's taking a swing saying, scumbag, liars, cheaters, la, James Kennedy. And it's like, this could have gone left real quick, right? Like, why are you saying that, this is the aggression that you want to get out is Lala and James? The group started laughing, and I did not expect that. I expected them to be like, what the fuck, dude? Like, we are not the cause of your problems. You did this to yourself. Again, like, you are the person who did this. And so stop putting the blame on everyone else. I don't know. What did you think about this?
I was with the rest of the group. I was literally LOLing. I was laughing out loud because, first of all, he looked so pathetic. And then second of all, just like, again, naming excuse after excuse, like he should be taking his anger out on himself. not the
Right.
people around him. Lala and James, like, what? Why are you? It's so laughable at this point. It's like, just when we think like, you're going to get some accountability from him, he literally like swings totally in the opposite direction and is still blaming other people. I don't know. It's laughable. But we finally get this moment at the end of the episode with him and James. So they go from the Wolf construction site to dinner with Lisa. Again, she shows up very randomly and basically, asks people like, what's your favorite thing about Sandoval? Which is like such a strange, like, what? Lisa, jump off the Sandoval train before it crashes. Like, you are going down with Sandoval and it is not a good look. People are starting to turn on her. Last week's video, you named her the real villain. And I think you had a point there because it's not a good look, Lisa. She needs to just jump off the train. But we got this interesting conversation with James and Tom. And Tom basically just says, like, he wants to coexist. He doesn't expect, them to forgive him right away. But James is like, I can do that. That is what we're doing right now, currently. And then James kind of just calls it like it is. He basically is blaming Sandoval, even though it wasn't done maliciously. He's like, there is such a better way that you could have gone about it. Why didn't you just break up with Ariana and then be with Raquel? And Sandoval, once again, is like, it's not that easy. And James, like, just comes at him like, I just think you weren't man enough to leave the relationship. And honestly, like, that's all of us. That's what we've been saying this whole time. It's what Sandoval needed to hear. And yet he's still making excuses as to why he didn't do that.
I just want to know, if they had not been outed and caught, when would it have come out?
Never.
And that's probably true. It's very possible that they would have kept dating and even potentially like broken up and no one would have ever talked about it. And so James is right here and he's showing that he has, emotionally surpassed Sandoval in this realm, because he's saying, if you really wanted to leave and break off the relationship with Ariana, then you would have left and broken off the relationship with Ariana. Like, you can't just keep saying, I couldn't because of this and that. It's like, no, it's very black and white here. If you want to leave, you leave. And I thought it was really interesting when James asked Tom, do you think you're going to be with Rachel at the end of all this? And Tom basically was like, I don't know. Doesn't seem like she wants to be with him. And so his point was, you did this all for nothing. You lost everything, and now you're not even going to end up with the girl at the end.
Yeah, and then he finally ends up taking accountability and apologizing, which I thought was a good moment. But something that was super telling to me was when he said, it wasn't about being with Rachel. It was about being out of a relationship he wasn't happy in. Like, that was kind of like a red flag for me. That was something that we haven't heard before. That, we thought it was for love. We thought it was for Rachel, but in reality, it was just like a Band-Aid to like fix his broken relationship. So,
okay, maybe I hallucinated because I did not catch that part at all. But that's really weird thing to say, because basically he's saying it could have been anyone. It's not like Rachel was someone special who made me do this. He was just kind of looking for any excuse, and that's it.
Exactly. So the question, does he deserve to be forgiven? I don't think so yet. I don't think that he has, done the actions or, said the things that deserve forgiveness. I don't think he's done that yet, but it seems like the tables are already turning. James is coming around. Next week, Sheena's going to come around. So I think we are, still at the beginning, but we're seeing Sandoval's redemption arc slowly start to curve up. So should be very, very interesting in the coming weeks.
Yeah, I keep having to remind myself that this is pretty fresh for them still. It's only 3 months in. And I do feel like it's a little soon for them to be, forcing this group together and expecting forgiveness. And I think had they not been filming, right away, I feel like they almost could have done better with a little bit longer of a pause to sort of make this forgiveness happen more naturally.
Totally agree. So we're going to see it play out. There's still a lot more to come, and we will be here each week to cover it all. So make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss any more Bravo breaking news.
See you next time.